Avery Woodley here, and I am back. Okay, this is not part 2 of Do Women View Submitting as a Weakness? In this video, I will purely be going over defining submission. Okay, so let's get to it. Submission is an act that is expressed mutually and voluntarily. Submission is an act that is expressed mutually and voluntarily. Being submissive helps us to be less self-centered and allows us to consider the desire of others. Submission has nothing to do with being weak. Submission has nothing to do with being weak, but allows us to be strong enough to open our hearts to others. Okay, now what I'm going to tell you, if we're going to talk about submission and submitting and what a man's role is, husband's role, and what a woman's role is, a wife's role, I have to go to the Bible, okay? Ephesians 5, verse 22 through 33. And it is titled, Marriage, Christ and the Church. Wives, submit to your own husbands as to the Lord. For the husband is head of the wife, as also Christ is the head of the church, and he is the Savior of the body. Therefore, just as the church is subject to Christ, so let the wives be to their own husbands in everything. Husbands, husbands, love your wives, just as Christ also loved the church and gave himself to her, that he might sanctify and cleanse her with the washing of water by the word, that he might present her to himself a glorious church, not having spot or wrinkle or any such thing, but that she should be holy and without blemish. So husbands ought to love their own wives as their own bodies. He who loves his wife loves himself. For no one ever hated his own flesh, but nourishes and cherishes it, just as the Lord does the church. For we are members of his body, of his flesh, and of his bones. For this reason a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. This is a great mystery, but I speak concerning Christ and the church. Nevertheless, let each one of you in particular so love his own wife as himself. Nevertheless, let each one of you in particular so love his own wife as himself, and let the wife see that she respects her husband. And let the wife see that she respects her husband. I feel like I need like Medea or somebody to come out and throw a little something on this, okay? That is from the Bible. Now, that brings me to my next point. Men are submitting to God, okay? So here we have like a chain. We have a hierarchy. We have God right here. We have the man who is to lead, love, and protect. He is submitting to God. Here's your man. Look, here is your husband submitting to God. Under the husband, what do you have next? You have the wife. As her husband is bowing down and submitting to God and surrendering to God, she then is right behind him, following suit. She is submitting to him and showing him love and trusting him, trusting that he is going to love her the way Christ loved the church. He is going to lead. When it comes to decisions, he is going to make the best decision, not only for himself, but for her and their household entirely, okay? They are not in competition. They are not in a war. They are not, the North versus the South. It is not husband versus wife. We are together. We are one. We are a single team. For example, I saw this. Okay, he's over, he's supposed to be over the finances, but what if he's not good with numbers, okay? What if he's like, I can do this, but that is not my strong suit. But he knows that she is better in math. She's a mathematician. I don't know, she's a math whiz. Now, see, that's not my thing, okay? She's a math whiz. Now, instead of him being Instead of him trying to say, okay, well, I'm the leader and I'm over the finances, but he doesn't know anything about finances. He knows how to make the money, but he wants to be responsible with his money as a leader. He goes to her and says, babe, I'm going to bring this to you. Can you allocate our funds? Can you do a budget for our household? Can you go over our expenses? Because I'm not good with that. Now, as the wife, is she going to say, no, fool, you're supposed to lead. You're supposed to be a provider. You should know how to crunch these numbers. If she does that, she is an idiot. No, she is supposed to say, I got you. I also know women who are horrible cooks. Horrible. They have tried, they have taken classes and everything, but they cannot cook. But guess who can throw down? That husband, okay? Can throw down. So do you think that they're just going to be sitting up in the house just eating nasty food? No. Now, if his job allows him to be at home at a time where he can make dinner, then he will make dinner. If he is not around and not able to do that, and they can afford to, they eat out. Or she has her safe go-to meals. But guess what? He appreciates the effort she is putting in, making sure that he is fed. And she appreciates the fact that he understands that she cannot cook. Okay? He's not bashing her for it. He's not telling her that she's less of a woman because she doesn't know how to season anything. And she may or may not rinse her meat off when it comes out the pack. But he's like, okay, I'll help take care of this. All right, now I want to read something to you guys that was left on my Instagram. I think as far as my marriage is concerned, 2 working adults, time constraints, and more, we tend to approach things as a team. She might be better at cooking and scheduling, while I'm better at the finances, bill paying, and so on. However, as a husband, I've noticed it's extremely important to keep your word. Otherwise, the trust or the opportunity to submit is not there and is replaced with resentment. But I must admit, to say these 4 words, I got this, babe, feels better than many men like to admit. That is beautiful. I just wanted to be clear and give you guys some definitions on what it means, all right? So I wanted to make sure I gave you guys a non-biblical, definition, and then the biblical definition on what submission and submitting is all about, okay? See you guys next time.